Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Yes, I am back. It's a good old MF Michael Fletcher taking back the hosting duties. Want to give big props to Anthony Florio for holding it down last week for us. Beyond my control, I had work commitments, and now I'm back and hopefully on a more permanent basis. So, until then, guys, let's dive right in. You guys know the deal. It's AEW first, then NXT. And yes, guys, spoiler alert on NXT, history was made tonight. We'll get into that in just a little bit. But first, we dive into AEW. And we started it off with the Lucha Bros as they went up against Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. And when it was all said and done, the Lucha Bros wins the match 18 minutes and 9 seconds. And, well, I'll say it. Solid, great match to start off the show. Got a lot of time. I mean, almost 20 minutes, guys. I think I know why they threw that there. Because a certain other fight went commercial free. And was a title fight, by the way. So, that's why they did that. So, I don't know if that was a really good, to say the very least. But, it was good. It was fine. I liked the match. Especially at the beginning, it kind of was like, really? All right. It was getting a little too cutesy for me. But let me say it. Right towards the end, you kind of saw a lot of really good wrestling out of it. So, to me, great match. 3 to 3.5 stars. Great way to jump it off. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
All right. Hello, friends. Your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here for Wednesday Night Mayhem. And anytime MF, I'm always happy to help out whenever I'm called upon to do so. So, yeah, it was fun for me last week to be in your spot. But nonetheless, great to have you back, MF. And you couldn't have picked a better night to come back because of this. This was a huge night on both shows in so many ways. And you said it. This was a 3 to 3.5 star match. You're absolutely right. I mean, you can't think of a better way to start it off. I mean, the first show of both shows were huge matches, and the Lucha Brothers against Kenny Omega and Hangman. I mean, man, it was a hell of a fun match. There's no question about it, and you nailed everything. I mean, yes, it was a little bit of a little cutesy early on. I agree with you on that 100%, no doubt about it. But at the end, though, the match really got into that second gear, and it furthered the angle with Omega and Page. I thought that was gonna, I thought the powder cake, but that was gonna be lit, but it was not. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe on New Year's night in a couple of weeks, we'll have to find out. But nonetheless, fun match, great action, exactly as I thought it would play out. So 3 to 3.5, I definitely agree with you on that, MF, no doubt about it. So with that being said, let's bring on the Phenom, Michael Bullock. Long time no talk to, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, things are going really good, Florio, Fletch, and of course Didi. Hello, friends. This is your resident Phenom, Mike Bullock here, and great to be here as always, especially on a big night like this, and especially since we're now just about a week away from Christmas. So hopefully you all got your Christmas shopping done. But as far as this match goes, I do agree. This was a 3 to 3.5 star match. I mean, it was a little cutesy at times, but man, as the match progressed, I mean, it really picked up, and yeah, I mean, it went as what we all expected. I mean, I think we all expected the Lucha Brothers to go over, and yeah, and still a little essential with Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. And let's not forget, guys. There's another thing that's on the mind of Kenny Omega, and he appeared on the big screen. It's the Bastard Pack, and he was he basically said, you know what, I want my rematch, and if you don't give me my rematch, bad things are going to happen, and I'm not going to be responsible. And we saw him go into the locker room, and I think, guys, that looked like Kenny Omega's friend. And then he went in there and the door closed. Well, I think you guys can paint a picture of what he was about to do. So, yeah. So there's a lot more on Kenny Omega's mind than what's going on with Hangman Page. So 3 to 3.5. I do agree with the rating. So Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree with the rating, and you guys pretty much said everything. So let's move on.
Yeah, and that thing that you were talking about, Michael Bullock. Well, not only that, but actually, what happened was basically as it pertains. There was a little bit of dissension among the ranks, between Adam Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. A little bit of a shoving match, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, that guy that you're talking about is my guy, one of my personal favorites, Michael Nakazawa. But unfortunately, like you said, it was Pac. Basically, it looked like he set his sights on Nakazawa. Next thing you know, Omega went to run after him, and Nakazawa is now gone. He's going AWOL, MIA, missing in action, and it looks like that so-called bastard, as you said, Michael Bullock, he might have done something to Nakazawa. Boy, that's one of Kenny Omega's boys. That's one of Omega's closest friends from New Japan. You mess with him? Now you're really gone up and done it. You want to talk about, I'm going to tell you, you do not want Cleaner to go cleaner mode on Pac. If he turns into the Cleaner, Kenny Omega, oh my God, that's bad news for everybody in AEW.
Especially the Bastard Pack.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? There's the elite side of Kenny Omega, and that's fine. But the Cleaner was one of the most sadistic individuals in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's what made him the leader of the Bullet Club at the time. So if that happens, look out. All right, guys. So next.
Well, quick. One more thing, Fletch. I mean,
be quick.
If he becomes that, I mean, there's a certain line you don't cross, and that's Kenny Omega. Because if you get the Cleaner, oh boy, you're in big trouble.
All right, now we'll move on, and we had the Butcher and the Blade, and they went up against Cody Rhodes and Darby Allin, and when it was all said and done, Cody and Darby Allin wins the match in 10 minutes and 48 seconds. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
I'm going to give it 3.25 stars for the effort. And I got to be honest here. Why debut the Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny in such a high-profile angle only to have Cody beat him 2 weeks in? The outcome of this match killed the trio's aura, especially as it came at the hands of first-time tag team partners. The heels with the unique look and presence are now essentially just another team in an already bloated tag division. As for Cody and Allin, all this did was set up a rematch from Fyter Fest. Could that not have been accomplished with a loss? The wonky booking of the entire 2-week feud between Cody and the newcomers ultimately dragged the overall effectiveness of the program down, even if tonight's match was a fun little tag team sprint. So that's really all there is to say on this. So I'm going to give it 3.25 stars for the effort. Cody and Darby will meet again. No, not sure when that'll be, but, we'll find out soon enough. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours. 3.25 stars for me.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.25 stars. But yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, you debut this new tag team of the Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny, and 2 weeks into their, I mean, you put them over last week, and then this week you have them lose to Cody and Darby Allin. That to me, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it basically kills the momentum from what they had last week. I mean, we can only hope that AEW will give some momentum back, because if we want to take this team seriously, you need to continue to put this team over and make us take this team seriously. Otherwise, if you're going to have them continue to lose, then to me, and I'm going to be brutally honest with this, guys, it's a complete waste of talent as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. So, I mean, the match was good, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing to me still doesn't make any sense. So, Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it was about 3.25 stars. It was a good match. Cody and Alan, they made a really good team. They worked really good with each other. It does seem kind of a waste to have this new team lose in their second match, but it is what it is. So I'm not going to add anything else. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I agree. About 3 stars. 3.25. I'll give it. Solid fight. Nothing more to say. But like you said, it really killed the momentum, and I'm a little perplexed about it. So, there's really nothing more to say about it. So, then we got a squash fight. Awesome Kong, just destroyed her opponent in 23 seconds. Nothing more to say. Then we had the match, and it was Jungle Boy 1-on-1 with Chris Jericho. Now, there was a special stipulation about this, is that Chris Jericho said that I could beat you in under 10 minutes. So, there was a 10-minute time limit on the clock, and believe it or not, Jungle Boy survived. He lasted the entire 10. Then Jericho demanded 5 more minutes in the match and almost got upsetted. That's right. Jungle Boy basically got 2 very close near falls on Chris Jericho. And then Jericho was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm done. I don't need to waste any more time with this loser. Jungle Boy just survived and almost pinned the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Now, this is by no stretch of the imagination a championship committee moment. This doesn't count. But, Michael Bullock, Jungle Boy just got a high-profile fight with the Lexicon de la Campeón and held his own pretty well and almost pulled off the biggest upset in AEW.
Yeah, Chris Jericho thought he could beat him in under 10 minutes. Well, Jungle Boy, he proved that he could hang around with the Le Champion and went the entire 10 minutes. I mean, Chris Jericho tried to add 5 more minutes just so he could do what he was going to do, but let's just say, Fletch, Chris Jericho decided to take his ball and go home after that. I mean, he was through with getting embarrassed. Yeah, I mean, Jungle Boy really did hold his own. I mean, it's not a championship committee moment because, I mean, this wasn't a win or a loss here. So yeah, I don't know how to rank this. I mean, I thought it was a good match here. So yeah, I don't know how to rank a match like this, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but man, Chris Jericho, you just made yourself look like a total doofus by you thought you would have no problems with him. Well, Jungle Boy proved he can hang with anybody, including you, and you had to pout and moan about it. Now, here's the thing I got a problem with Chris Jericho. I mean, he was trying to he had a problem with Tony Schiavone with saying, "Oh, he could." I mean, he lasted with you, and then he's like, "No, he didn't." And then he told him to shut up, or I'll beat your ass too. You do not do that to a legend like Tony Schiavone. I don't care if you're the Le Champion. So watch yourself next time, Jericho. So nothing more to say. Yeah, I don't know how to rank this. D.D. Woodson, it's yours.
Well, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because it, even though there really wasn't a outcome other than Jungle Boy surviving, it was still a darn good match. They played really well with the stipulation, and of course, this was really good for Jungle Boy to increase his stature in the company, even though it wasn't a pinfall win for him. He did step up and he did show Jericho that he isn't someone that you can take lightly. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it. So Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This was a solid fight. And major props goes to Jungle Boy. I know Jungle Boy, if you know him personally, he's been through a lot this year. Losing his father, as everybody knows, Jungle Boy is actually Luke Perry's son. And Luke Perry, who is notorious, Beverly Hills 90210, was actually the father on one of the children on the new TV show Riverdale, who's been there for about a couple of years. During 2019, his father passed away abruptly, like unexpectedly out of nowhere. And Jungle Boy had to deal with that during the time. And without a doubt, he's had a very rough 2019. But let me tell you, professionally, wrestling-wise, this could not have been a more unbelievable moment for him. And maybe going into 2020, he might have just put himself in line for a possible world title match. We don't know, but what a story would it be for him if Jungle Boy, of all people, could get a shot at the 15 to 20 pounds of gold that is the AEW World Championship. It could happen. I think the fight itself is an official NA because there was no official match. We could say he survived, but there was no official winner. So take it for what it's worth. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
I'm sorry. I'm with D.D. Woodson on this. I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I 100% agree. This was some great star-making stuff from Jericho and Jungle Boy. The latter was tested as he has never been tested before and showcased the type of intensity and toughness necessary to achieve greatness at the next level of competition. It undoubtedly won him over new fans who appreciated the way he was able to not only hang with Jericho, but also steal a few near falls in the process. Jericho is such an expert storyteller that what he lacks in speed and agility at this point in his career, he makes up for it with his ability to keep fans invested in his matches, including me. It was his work that held everything together and helped elevate the star of his opponent. The post-match interview by Jericho, in which he reiterated his invite to Jon Moxley for inclusion in the Inner Circle, kept that storyline thread fresh in the minds of fans. So that's really all there was to say about it. Now, I flip around between both shows, as you know, but I watched every second of this match because that's how bad I wanted to see it. And Jungle Boy, let me tell you something, son. Your late father, Luke Perry, he's smiling down on you, brother. He's smiling down on you. No doubt about it. I could hear. I swear I could hear him at the moment. I could hear him saying, "That's my boy." So awesome. So Luke's proud of you, man. He really is. So future world title shot, MF? Absolutely. I think he deserves it, just like Scorpio Sky. I mean, Scorpio Sky pinned him in that tag team match, and what happened? He ended up getting a title shot out of it. I think the same can be said for Jungle Boy. Maybe on New Year's night, maybe, or maybe down the road after that. I don't know, but one thing is for certain. I know Moxley's the next big money feud. I get it, but Jungle Boy deserves a shot. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Let's move on.
With that said, now it's time for the women. It was Chris Statlander going up against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. When it was all said and done, Chris Statlander wins the match, 9 minutes and 32 seconds, with the Big Bang Theory. And now it's possible maybe the next in line for Rio's championship.
That was a contenders match, MF. She is the number.
No, she is the number contender. All right. So, and I believe it goes to Dee Dee Woodson. So, Dee Dee, give me your thoughts. Chris Statlander, now the number one contender for the AEW Women's World Title.
This was a pretty good match. This was also a really good push for Statlander. We've all pretty much said, the AEW ladies aren't as good as the NXT or WWE ladies. But still, I mean, they did a good job for what it was worth. And, then you got the whole thing at the end where Brandy comes out and trying to get her in her Nightmare Collective thing. And then we also got to see this... the girl that got her head shaved. I think her name's Melanie or something like that.
Melanie Cruz.
Yeah. So we got kind of a little introduction to her as well. So yeah, I mean it was a fairly good match. I'm gonna give it about 3 stars. Look forward to seeing what Statlander can do with her little China doll. So I'll just pass it over to you, Neil.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting now. Because not only that, but I hate to say this, but with a storyline now that Statlander has with, I guess you could call it the Nightmare Collective, and with Melanie Cruz and Awesome Kong and Brandy Rhodes, now you saw what happened. Statlander got jumped. Now, does she try to does that give her momentum? Maybe thinking that Statlander maybe is the next in line for the title? Of course, Rio has been an unbelievable champion up to this point and is, without a doubt, probably one of the most over in AEW. But also, Sadie Gibb came out to check on Statlander after the jump. So maybe they might set something up of a possible 6-woman tag, before we get the big payoff for the title fight. I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. But it's going to be very interesting to watch. Really nothing more to say. So, a solid fight. I'll give this about 2.5 to 3. Anthony, it's yours.
Solid 3. Solid 3 stars. I mean, This felt like a match that had more to it, but may have been limited by television time constraints. Statlander continued to impress. It looks like the type of talent a division can be built around. Dr. Britt, on the other hand, continues to improve, but appears to have lost considerable momentum in comparison to her place in title contention a month ago. Statlander's ongoing feud with the Nightmare Collective essentially telegraphs the conclusion of her New Year's Day women's title match with Riho. And yes, that women's title match with Riho will be on New Year's night, so mark it down. And it appears likely that Brandy Rhodes, Awesome Kong, and Melanie Cruz will make their presences felt. But I have a question here. Where does Hikaru Shida, where does she stand in all of this? 2 weeks ago, she was the top-ranked competitor in the women's division and somehow fell out of contention in the time since. Manipulating the rankings to get the matches management wants or the stories it desires really hurts the credibility of the process. And I got to call you folks out on that. Of course, Statlander beat both her and Baker, so creative certainly dodged the bullet in this scenario. So really all I can say on that. But I'm a little bit wonky about the process there. But nonetheless, Statlander earned it. She got the win, and I'm not surprised because Dr. Britt already had her title shot. So we keep things fresh in AEW. We don't do it like the other folks do, where we get repetitive. But we get another fresh match with Statlander and Riho in 2 weeks. Great way to start the new year and decade. So we'll see how it all goes down in a couple weeks in Jacksonville. So other than that, solid 3-star match. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, Riho finally has a dance partner for the title. Chris Statlander, New Year's night in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that all goes in 2 weeks' time. So, yeah, 3 stars for the rating of this match. I mean, it was good, and yeah, so there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So I think we should just move on, Fletch.
Main event of the evening on AEW Dynamite, it was the Young Bucks versus SCU. When it was all said and done, the winners in 11 minutes and 10 seconds, SCU. They win the match. I believe this goes to, actually I lead off. Solid main event, another 3-star fight. Good for what it was worth. I got really nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
Yes, this was another. This was a 3.5-star match for me. Now, here it is. The match, this show closing match, was more of a paint by numbers contest that the Bucks and SCU could probably have in their sleep. But it did lack the molten heat one would expect from a contest of that magnitude, and in hindsight, felt like it was merely a setup for the Dark Order beatdown. Dark Order was inarguably the least overact in AEW this side of the Librarians, yet now they are firmly entrenched in the main event scene as one of the most prominent acts in the company. Well, you can't say AEW management is not persistent in their desire to push that act. All haters be damned. The question now is whether Dark Order will be relegated to the tag division, where they will feud with the Bucks and SCU, or if there is a bigger, more overarching storyline that will incorporate the rest of the Elite into it. On this night, it certainly did. And what of Hangman Page, whose absence was called out by Jim Ross on commentary? Will it be addressed going forward, or will it be dropped, like Pac's apparent kidnapping of Michael Nakazawa earlier in this night? So, a lot to think about here. But it was still a fun match for what it was. To me, my fight of the night was, believe it or not, the Jericho and Jungle Boy. That's the one I enjoyed the most. So this was another 3.5-star or so match. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give it about 3.5 stars as well. I mean, yeah, it was a good match. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So I'm just gonna give it to D.D. Woodson now.
Yeah, 3.5-star match. It was a very good main event. And I do have to agree with Florio. I think the Jericho and Jungle Boy match was probably the best match of the night for AEW. This one, it did lack a little bit, but it was still a good match, good main event. And, pretty much it did set up this Dark Order thing that we've been seeing these promos for the whole night, or the whole, I guess, month or so, whatever it's been. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. It's yours, Fletch.
Now time for the overall review. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
7.5 out of 10 for me. Some of the matches could have been better, but we only had one real bad match, and that was the squash match by Kong. But other than that, solid to good to great matches. Like I said, some could have been better. But if I'm going to be honest with you, Chris Jericho and the Jungle Boy, they stole the show tonight. No question about it. I mean, like I said, it's the first time I've ever really sat down and watched the Jungle Boy match. Because like I said, I float around both shows. Usually more towards NXT than AEW. But I was a little more AEW on this night because I really wanted to see that Jericho and Jungle Boy match. And I'm glad I did, because that was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. And Jungle Boy made a believer out of me. That's all there is to say on that. I mean, a future title shot is in order. That's just all I'm saying. If we were the championship committee, hands down, we would say absolutely he deserves a title shot. And we would have booked it on New Year's night. There's no better way to ring in the new year than with Le Champion defending against the Jungle Boy. And if that ever happens, I think that match could be even better. So that's all there is to say on that. I don't think Jungle Boy is going to win the title, though. That's just the thing. I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't think he will. I ultimately think Moxley, or maybe even... No, it probably will be Moxley, who I think will ultimately dethrone Le Champion. And I think it's going to happen that pay-per-view at the end of February. That's just my guess. But for right now, this was a 7.5 out of 10. Jericho, Jungle Boy stole the show. Tag team title match was great. The opening match was great. Solid tag with the Butcher and the Blade against Cody and Darby Allin. That was good. Women's match, solid. And that squash was the only bad thing, but some of them could have been better. So 7.5, I think, is the correct rating for this show. So Michael Bullock, do you agree, disagree, or what? I said 7.5. What says you?
I say 7.5 as well. I mean, I thought everything was really good. I mean, the only downside was the Awesome Kong squash match, but yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. 7.5 out of 10. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll agree. 7.5 out of 10. One other thing on the Jericho thing was, it was really good to kind of see, Jungle Boy's sister, mom, and grandma out there supporting him through this, and that was kind of cool to see. But yeah, I could see, maybe in the future him having a title shot, but no, it's going to be a while before he ever actually gets his hands on the title. But I'd love to see, him face Jericho again. I pretty much agree with most of what the guys said so far, so I'm not going to add too much more. So it's yours, Fletch.
And I'm in agreement. I'll go 7.5. I thought it was a solid show. Really nothing more to add. Guys, it's time. Let's go into NXT. We started off with a match for the NXT title. It was Adam Cole versus Finn Balor. Oh, by the way, no commercial breaks. That's right. It went from bell to bell with no breaks in between. We got a full fight. 15 minutes, 14 seconds. The winner and still NXT champion, Adam Cole, baby! Michael Bullock, you lead off.
What was the time of the fall?
15-14.
All right. Well, man, I mean, you couldn't have thought of a better way to kick it off. I mean, we already knew about it, but not only that, but with Big being commercial free, it makes it even better. So, you know what? I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give this 3.5 to 4. Maybe I'm leaning more towards 3.5 because, well, during the match, well, a certain somebody returned, and let's just say, Finn Balor got his comeuppance, and he got his comeuppance at the hands of Mr. Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Gargano is back after being out 2 months, thanks to Finn Balor. So, yeah, Johnny Gargano cost him the title. So, yeah, and somewhere down the line, boys, we're gonna see Johnny Gargano and Finn Balor go at it. When? We're just gonna have to wait and find out. But it was a really good way to kick it off. 3.5 to 4, but like I said, I'm leaning more towards 3.5 because of the a little bit of the interference from Johnny Gargano. So nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, it was good to see Johnny back for this one. And yeah, I mean, even though it wasn't a physical interference, him just being there was enough to be a distraction to cause Cole to win. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this about 4 stars. I mean, it was a very good match, great way to start. Love the fact that there was no commercial breaks throughout the whole thing, so you really got to enjoy the match in its entirety and not having the picture-in-picture or the breaking it up. So yeah, it was good to actually see that. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say. It's yours, Fletch.
I gotta say it. Can we at least have one NXT fight like this, please? Can we just have one match like that? Commercial free, just give us the fight and let us salivate and go bonkers over this. This was really good, beginning to end. That's how you start a show. You knew this was going to be a big night. You knew this was going to be a big show. Just go for it, guys. Throw it out there. This was awesome. I loved it. 4 stars for me. I got no arguments here. Anthony, it's yours.
This was the second best fight of the night. 4-star match. The match was a good one, though I thought it might go another 10 minutes or so. The late match distraction always rings pretty false, and I thought it put Johnny in a tough position. He already has a hard time with a segment of Full Sail's crowd, and they weren't overly forgiving of the fact that he, quote-unquote, ruined a potential title change. But it was still a fun match. It delivered. Definitely had the elements of Shakespearean drama here. So, based on this, I think we all know what the fight of the night's going to be. So that's all there is to say on that. Little wink, wink moment for you. So 4 stars for me, no doubt about it, even with Johnny Wrestling coming back. Can we say maybe Portland in February? If you want to make that show a big deal, you put those 2 on it. You do that, look out. That's all there is to say on that. So 4 stars, MF, let's move on.
Are you ready for a Be a Man fight? Because that's what you got on this one. Killian Dane, one-on-one with Damian Priest. And Damian Priest wins the match in 14 minutes and 16 seconds. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, this was another really good match. Yeah, it was definitely Be a Man. I'm going to give it 3 stars. I mean, they went blow for blow. They just pretty much kind of tore everything up and showed what they were really good at. Yeah, you had the commercial break in this one, which kind of killed a little bit of the momentum for us that watch on the TV. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, this is. I know a lot of people were wondering what is really the reasoning to have feud like heel versus heel type fight. You know what? I don't care. It doesn't bother me one bit because if you're gonna give me fights like this, I'll take it any day of the week. Thank you very much. I think it's time to shed the face heel gimmicks now. Let them be wrestlers. Let them fight. And this was my kind of fight. Be a man. Get up in your face. I'll punch you in the face. You don't like it? Come and get some. That's what you got in this fight. This was freaking awesome. 3.5 stars for me. Anthony, go.
I couldn't agree more, MF. 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. Kind of a surprise result. Dane has seemingly been a big priority, and Priest was given an out with his rib injury, but he went over anyway. Priest kind of worked face throughout, which is kind of a bummer since his heel act was working so well of late. The match told a good story, though it wasn't quite a marvel of a work rate, but I think 3.5 is the correct rating. Maybe I was going a little overboard with the 3 3/4, but 3.5 stars though nonetheless. A very good be a man fight, and that's really all there is to say on that. So who knows what's next for Priest? Maybe he'll move up the ranks a little bit. So that's all there is to say on this. So I'm going to give it 3.5 stars for me. So, and MF, you remember Cole and Balor, that was technically a heel versus heel match too.
It was.
So you got 2 for the price of 1 there. So that little point aside, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this. 3.5 stars for me.
Yeah, I'll give this about 3.5 to 3 3/4. I mean, this was indeed a be a man fight. I mean, and I agree with Fletch. I mean, yes, I mean we had 2 heels going at it, but if you're gonna give us fights like we saw in this one, I'll take it any time. And yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So let's just move on.
Yeah, so the next thing that we did have was a one-on-one match. It was Cameron Grimes going one-on-one with Kushida, and Cameron Grimes gets the big win, knocking off Kushida 13 minutes and 58 seconds. I believe it goes to
Didi Woodson.
Didi. So Didi, you lead off. It's all yours, my dear.
Wait a minute. I think she let off on the last. I think it's you, Fletch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I botched too.
All right. Okay. Good match. Solid fight. Another 3-star outing. I really got nothing bad to say about the match. I mean, look, big win for Cameron Grimes. I think that's a great win for him. And with the pedestal and the level of amazing that Kushida is, that's a huge win for him. Kushida can definitely take the loss. No shame in the game. But for Cameron Grimes, this is probably a monumental win for him because he just knocked off one of the top junior cruiserweight, light heavyweight guys in the world. Kushida, relatively known as the king of the juniors in New Japan Pro Wrestling and was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion at one time. Big win for Cameron Grimes. Nothing more to say. 3 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, you underscored this. This was 3.5 again.
Okay.
Okay, now here's the thing. In the last match, it was an MF style match. It was a be a man, hard hitting, physical, smash mouth match. One match later, we go from that hard hitting element that MF loves so much, the be a man element. We went to my element. Technical, scientific wrestling. And that is exactly what we got in this match here. Excellent technical match. with a lot of counters, as you would expect. I figured Grimes for the win because he was due, but also because he had to take back his hat. So that's really all there is to say on this. As a fan of technical wrestling, this was as good as you could get. Not quite a masterclass, but it was amazing, though. Well done. 3.5 stars for me. Michael Bullock, I mean, you share a love of technical wrestling with me, and all I can say is this was definitely a very good technical match.
Yeah, I do share that whole technical wrestling thing with you, Florio. And yeah, this was a 3.5-star match. I mean, a big win for Cameron Grimes over Kushida. And who knows, now with this big win, maybe bigger and better things are coming for Cameron Grimes. But we'll just have to wait and see. So there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Definitely 3.5-star match, and yeah, this was a lot more technical than the last match. You know, these guys did a great job. So yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it was good. So it's yours, Fletch.
And then the lone cooldown fight, and unfortunately by default, was probably going to be named the worst fight of the night, but it was still a decent match for what it was worth. Io Shirai going one-on-one with the lovely Santana Garrett, but sorry, Santana fans, Io Shirai gets this one. 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Thanks for not cutting this out. I really wanted to get into this, so good for you. A bit of a breather after 3 long matches, and at least another one to come. Garrett looked strong here after a very rough match with Tainara Conti a handful of weeks ago, after which neither had been on TV until now. I know it's comparatively easy to have a good match with Io, but Santana's offense was sharp and crisp on a level that it wasn't previously. I'm going to give this 2.5 to 3 stars. So, MF, you were right not to rule this a cutout. I wanted to get into it, so good for you. Michael Bullock, I don't care what anybody says. This was not a cutout to me. This was a 2.5 to 3 star, 4-minute fun sprint. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's a 2.5 to 3 star match for me. I mean, I thought Santana Garrett definitely got in some good moves here during this fight, but you knew Io Shirai was going to go over here. But a good effort by both ladies in that short amount of time. So yeah, I'm glad Fletch didn't decide to call it a cutout. I don't know where Dee Woodson stands on this. I mean, if she wants to talk about it, we can. But if you don't want to talk about it, Dee, then we'll just move on.
Well, I'll give it 2 3/4 of a star. It was good for what it was worth. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right, guys, and now we get to the point of the show. Well, Anthony, it's time to turn the head. Limb manipulation time! My boy Pete Dunne goes one-on-one with Travis Banks, and yes, Pete Dunne wins the match. 10 minutes and 53 seconds. Michael Bullock, you lead off on this one.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna give this about 3 to 3.25 for the match here. But damn, I mean, Florio. I mean, you say you get cringeworthy when Pete Dunne goes for those fingers.
Yes, I do.
Well, yeah, I get cringeworthy too, and I think we saw it. But that's why they call him the Bruiserweight. I mean, he's a smash mouth guy. Doesn't give a damn about how you feel about his maneuvers. But yeah, I mean, this was another way to showcase that upcoming special Royal Rumble weekend with the NXT and NXT UK Worlds Collide special. So a good way to show off Travis Banks again, going up against one of the toughest men in NXT and Pete Dunne. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to give this about 3.25 stars. This was, a very good match. Yeah, definitely a little cringe-worthy when it comes to what Pete does to the hand and how he manipulates it and stuff. But still, it was a very, very good match. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, this was a solid 3-star fight, no doubt about it. I'm a big fan of. I'm gonna say it. I'm a huge fan of that limb manipulation. I love all that stuff, man. It's a unique style of submission style wrestling that you don't get to see every day, but I like it. I enjoy it. It doesn't get any better than that. So nothing more to say. Yeah. Anthony, it's yours.
It's almost like MF has radar because he was probably looking through me, and I had that cringeworthy look on my face, and yes, of course. But no, this to me was another 3.5-star match. What a match! I wish it hadn't had to go split screen. I expected to lament that Banks came over for a Worlds Collide preview and ended up facing a guy who spent most of his time in UK. But when familiarity leads to an awesome match like this, it's hard to complain. And a little show of respect afterward. Pete Dunne, the longest UK champion in history, 691 days, and he showed it tonight. The finger food, yeah, you know me. I have to turn away every time, and that's exactly what I did once again. So I'm like, is it safe? Can I look now? I'm like, okay, I'm good now. So that's all there is to say on that. I don't like that finger stuff, but other than that, that young man is fun to watch. There is no doubt about it. And I know exactly why MF loves this young man so much. I get it now. Me personally, I'm a Tyler Bate kind of guy, but MF.
Oh, Tyler Bate's awesome.
Yeah,
Tyler Bate is awesome.
The
Yeah,
inaugural UK champion who beat Pete Dunne, in the final of that UK tournament, up in England there. So, but I love Tyler Bate. That's my UK guy. But then again, I also like the ring general himself. So that's all there is to say there. So, but Pete Dunne, you are a fun young man to watch. The only thing that's not fun about you is the finger stuff. That's it. But other than that, that young man is going to be a star, a big star. And if he ever gets to the main roster, for the love of God, don't screw it up. Move on.
Yeah. All right. It's time. It don't get no bigger than this. The main event for the NXT Women's Championship. The champion, the Ace of Spades, Shayna Baszler. The challenger, the nightmare, Rhea Ripley. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the bout, 17 minutes, 47 seconds, and the new NXT Women's Champion, the Nightmare, Rhea Ripley. Dee Woodson, you lead off on the main event. History has been made at Full Sail University. We have a new NXT Women's Champion.
That we do. We do have a brand new women's champion, and there for a little while. I mean, wow, you didn't think she was going to pull it off, because there was a lot of near falls. There was a lot of a lot of interference with Shayna's little flunkies that came out. But yeah, I mean, it was a good match. She took her to the limits. For me, this was definitely the fight of the night. These two really, they just gave it to you, and just when you would think it was over, there was one of them resurrecting again. Shayna's another one that can make you a little cringeworthy when she, stomps on the digits herself, or manipulates them in her weird ways too. But yeah, this was definitely a great match. Now that Shayna's dethroned, does this mean she's going to move up to one of the other shows? Is she going to try to go for a third reign for NXT? We'll just have to wait and see. But definitely, this was Rhea's moment, and she's now the 9th NXT Women's Champion. So, congratulations to Rhea. You really showed why you are worthy of having this opportunity. So, not much more I have to say about it. Definitely 4-star match, teetering on 4.5. So, yeah, it's yours, Fletch.
I'm going 4.5. I gotta go 4.5. There's no doubt about this. This was an amazing main event, the perfect main event to close the show. We might have the NXT Women's Fight of the Year on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. So, I mean, we even got that possibly on the cards. Rhea Ripley basically cements her place and what she has done in literally the last couple of months, last couple of months, from the invasion of NXT to the WWE main roster, to the success at War Games, the success at Survivor Series, to now this, the crowning achievement of winning the NXT Women's Championship, knocking off by far one of the greatest champions that NXT's ever had in Shayna Baszler. Guys, it is a star-studded moment for this young lady. And look, the sky is the limit for Rhea Ripley. I mean, we've been saying it. We've been talking about it, that she's getting the mega push to the title, and now it's happened. Now let the rumors begin about Shayna Baszler. What is that going to happen with her? I'm hearing rumors about maybe her making her debut at the Royal Rumble. There's even talk that she might be Becky Lynch's opponent at WrestleMania in Tampa, if the Ronda Rousey thing falls through. Now, there's been rumors that we're going to get Becky versus Ronda at WrestleMania. But if Becky Ronda does not happen, Shayna Baszler will most likely be the next person to fill in. And if that's the case, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert right now. I think Shayna Baszler becomes the next Raw Women's Champion. She will dethrone the man at WrestleMania if this fight happens. So we'll wait and see what happens. But 4.5 stars. For me, this was awesome. Great way to close the show. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
You forgot one thing, MF. After the match, we had a stampede in the ring.
Oh, yes.
A stampede.
The locker room cleared out.
Well, fans were in there too.
Yeah, fans jumped over the wall too. Yeah, they did. It felt a la Impact Zone.
Absolutely. The only thing is we didn't have any any tripod confetti or streamers or any of that.
Or no pyrotechnics. No, nothing like that.
No, not at all. But a stampede that would make MF and Scott Van Pelt very proud. So
I approve.
Yeah, I know MF approves, absolutely. I agree. This was the fight of the night. Rating wise, I gotta go with MF. This was 4.5 stars. I have a different time of the fall on my end. My notes say 20 minutes and 49 seconds was the time of the fall. But nonetheless, though, 4.5 stars. This was the fight of the night. And I'm going to say this. Yes, is this the NXT Women's Match of the Year? Absolutely. No doubt about it. It lived up to the hype and everything. For me, this match just became for me personally, when it comes to NXT women's title matches, the second greatest NXT women's title match of all time. We all know what the greatest is to this day. It's still Sasha Banks and Bayley from the first Brooklyn takeover in 2015. That was a 5-star classic. A few more minutes and a few more near falls, maybe this would have surpassed it. But what a match. And what a payoff at the end of one of the best title reigns in NXT history. The psychology of the match was fantastic, and it's incredible what Rhea Ripley has done to improve and become one of the top stars in such a short time. And MF, you're right. I've been hearing that I even went on we even said it when this match first came about a couple weeks ago. We predicted that Shayna was going to lose the title. She did. She's going to move up to the main roster. She's going to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I think the seeds have now been firmly planted now. And I think that match will happen. I don't see Ronda coming back unless Ronda pulls the rug out from under us. I think Ronda's all set now. I think she did what she did, and what she did was amazing. But I think it's going to be Becky Lynch, and it's going to be Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania 36, and you're absolutely spot on, MF. The Queen of Spades will be the next Raw Women's Champion. And she'll avenge Ronda's loss. Because remember, that's 4 horsewomen right there. Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey, Jessamine Duke, Marina Shafir. No doubt about it. Shayna will want to avenge Ronda's loss to the man from this year's WrestleMania. And if she holds the title until then, it would be a full count. It would be just about a calendar year. So we'll see. For that to happen, I think Shayna Baszler is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble match as well. I'm going on the record. I think Shayna Baszler is going to walk out of Minute Maid Park in Houston next month as the winner of the 3rd ever Women's Royal Rumble match, joining the man Becky Lynch and, of course, the inaugural winner, Asuka. And speaking of Asuka, her reign was incredible. No question about it. But to me, I think Shayna Baszler will forever, in my opinion, be the greatest and most dominant NXT Women's Champion. This reign ended at, I believe, 415 or 416 days. Her previous reign was 132. So combine that, 548 cumulative days as the NXT Women's Champion. Combined reign longer than what Asuka had. I believe her reign was at 521. So Asuka was dominant. She was amazing, yes. But Shayna Baszler, to me, will forever be, unless someone does better than her. Maybe Rhea Ripley does. But Shayna Baszler will forever be, in my opinion, the greatest and most dominant NXT Women's Champion of all time. Love her or hate her. So she's on her way to the main roster. She's Raw bound, no doubt about it. In Royal Rumble, I've heard that NXT will be incorporated significantly in both matches. I heard 10 men, 10 women, 10 women from Raw, 10 men and women from Raw, 10 men and women from SmackDown, and 10 men and women from NXT. That's what I've been hearing. And if that's true, I've heard that Baszler could win the women, and I've even heard a couple of NXT names being thrown around for the men's Royal Rumble. One name being the Velveteen Dream, and I don't remember who the other one was. There was another name that was
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee, yes.
Keith Lee, I heard his name was getting thrown around to possibly win it for NXT.
Yes. The best year of NXT 2019. Well, let me tell you something. 2020 is going to be an even bigger year for NXT. So Michael Bullock, if I'm Michael Bullock right now, I'd be on cloud freaking 9 right now, because NXT is far and away the best brand in WWE. I hate to say it, far better than Monday Night Raw, and I'm sorry, MF, far better than Friday Night SmackDown. There is no question about it. Michael Bullock, you've got the premier brand right now. Strap that rocket pack, baby. You guys are on a rocket to the moon. There is no doubt about that. So, you thought this year was good for you, brother? Oh, no. Next year and the next several years are going to be even bigger. So, nothing more to say. 4.5 stars. Fight of the night. NXT Women's Fight of the Year. Second greatest NXT Women's title match I ever saw, only behind the 5-star that Sasha and Bayley had in Brooklyn in 2015. So, well done, ladies. Well done. And Rhea Ripley, the rocket's been strapped. Go to the moon, darling. You're shooting for the moon. So, take it. You're more than capable. Michael Bullock, there's nothing left for me to say except bask. Like Keith Lee, bask in the glory, man. Bask in the glory. That's all there is to say on it. So, Bullock, come on in, man. Hit me with that proud papa moment.
Oh, man. I mean, I definitely agree with everything you guys said. I mean, 4.5 stars. The fight of the night, the women's fight of the year. I mean, it delivered in every way. I mean, both women were awesome here, and Rhea Ripley gets that moment like we all expected. And I mean, guys, this was the culmination of what has been a near 2-month dominance for Rhea Ripley. I mean, all starting, but I think the real highlight, obviously, was being the survivor of the first ever women's War Games and what she did at the Survivor Series. And it all culminated with her getting her moment and becoming the new NXT Women's Champion. That rocket, that jetpack is on her. Now it's time for her to get rocketed up, because she is indeed a big time star in NXT, and she's proven it. Now it's going to be interesting to see who is going to be the first challenger. And as far as Shayna Baszler goes, I do agree. She's going to the main roster. She is Monday Night Raw bound. And like you said, I think she's going to be the one that's going to challenge the man, Becky Lynch, for the Raw Women's title. Most certainly at WrestleMania. So we'll wait and see how all that goes. So congratulations to Rhea Ripley, the new NXT Women's Champion. Certainly a great way to close out the show. So, nothing more to say. Fletch, it's time for the overall review.
Anthony Florio, you lead off on this, my friend. What do you say?
We're going to reach an unreachable star here. Perfect 10. I'm pulling the trigger. This was a perfect 10 here tonight. Although the outcomes of the two main matches probably won't surprise anyone who watches week after week, the moment at the end of the show was still well earned after such a strong match with effective teases of a title retention. Plus, after a reign that long, you can never be quite sure if the title change is really happening. At 79 minutes in the ring, this is one of the most wrestling-heavy episodes of NXT in the USA era, and it generally all delivered. With a takeover that was satisfying, but had little in the way of championship implications, this show came off as a takeover on TV, with very little in the way of extra segments as the show kept bringing it in the ring. There were some little things to like about elevation and direction, but all in all, this was most definitely Rhea Ripley's night after a year that's hard to turn in terms of becoming a star. She had the best 72-hour stretch any athlete or wrestler could ever had. Winning on SmackDown, beating Charlotte and Sasha in that triple threat match, the War Games match with her and Candice LeRae overcoming the betrayal of Dakota Kai to win the War Games match from 2-on-4 down, And then, of course, leading Team NXT to victory at Survivor Series with Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. And then tonight, winning the title. And then that stampede at the end of the night. So, the worst fight of the night was a 4-minute match, and that match was actually a 2.5 to 3-star match. And if that's the case, how can you not give it a perfect 10? This definitely had the feel of a takeover. So, perfect booking all the way around. They did it exactly right. The women's match deserved to be the main event. After all, it did get a WWE Network special last night, Prime Target. So, go out of your way to see it if you haven't. So, Michael Bullock, be proud, man. This is your show, man. So, you guys are on your way. To me, NXT is more main roster than Raw and SmackDown nowadays. So, we don't even hold a candle to NXT. They proved it at Survivor Series, and they prove it in the ratings week in and week out. What I would give for a Monday Night Raw or even a Friday Night SmackDown for MF to get a perfect 10. I mean, each of us came close. I mean, the closest Raw came to getting a perfect 10 this year was the Madison Square Garden show in September. That was our moment. And for SmackDown, MF had his moment November the 1st, thanks to NXT, the invasion, because of the Crown Jewel fiasco. So those were our moments. But Bullock, you got the moment of moments tonight. So like your friend Keith Lee, bask in the glory. That's all there is to say on that. So I don't give a damn what anybody says. If I'm the lone, well, no, I'm not going to be the lone wolf on this. I know Bullock will agree with me. We'll see about MF and Didi, but for me and for Bullock, there's no doubt about it. This was a perfect 10. Bullock, bask in the glory. Give us just to put us out of our misery. I already know what you're going to give it.
I'm basking in the glory with what we saw here tonight on NXT. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of what we saw tonight, and this is why NXT is the number one brand in WWE, and they proved it tonight. I mean, especially with that moment when Rhea Ripley became the new NXT Women's Champion. Yeah, and there was really no bad matches. I mean, it was the only by default the worst fight of the night was that women's match, and it was with Tana Garrett and Io Shirai. It wasn't even that bad. So, you know what? I'm in agreement with Florio. This is a perfect 10, and if we're the only two to go with it, I don't care. I mean, this was a moment that was worthy of it, and something that I think we're all going to remember for a long time. Didi Woodson, it's yours.
No, I'm giving it the perfect 10 as well. I mean, it was definitely an awesome show. I mean, yeah, that they gave us exactly what we needed with the two title matches. That they drove every match to the limits. Like I said, the only low point was Io Shirai and Santana Garrett. So other than that, I mean, there's nothing bad about the show at all. So yeah, I got nothing else to say. So I toss it over to Fletch.
We had ourselves an NXT takeover level show tonight. They obliterated AEW to the core. AEW didn't even stand a chance tonight. It was that kind of a beatdown night. Guys, I'm going to say it right here, right now. For the first time this year, because I don't think we had a perfect 10 all year. NXT did it. They pulled the trigger. 10 on my scale as well. Unfreaking believable this show tonight. There's really nothing more to say. that's it. We're done for the night, guys. Thank you, Anthony Floyo. Thank you, Michael Bullock. Thank you, Didi Woodson. Tomorrow night, we got another edition of NFL Thursday, as hosted by Anthony Floyo, 10:30 Eastern. Actually, no, 10 o'clock. Let's do it at 10 o'clock, guys. So 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we'll do that. And yeah, so with that said, have a good night, everybody. So long for now. Bye-bye.